The Mike Schickman Show. News Talk 550 and 92.1 WSVA.
It's the Mike Schickman Show on WSVA. Very pleased to have as our next guest, Chrysta Castañeda. She's the president of Canterbury Communications, regularly representing clients in legal situations of all kinds, including litigation, governmental investigations, crises. She's a communications professional and an attorney, and she has in-depth understanding of how the legal and the communications world will interact with one another. Today, Chrysta is going to join us to talk about, and this is an interesting case, Donald Trump and the war against the media. Chrysta, welcome to our program. It's an honor to have you.
Thank you.
I've got to tell you, Mr. Trump and the media seems like a marriage made in Hollywood. It's a great sitcom, but I don't know how it's going to play in the country.
Oh, wow. Isn't it interesting to watch? Clearly, he is set off to take on the traditional media, just square on and call them out on things he believes are unfair and factually inaccurate. And I think they're going to do exactly the same.
Well, to me, the fascinating thing about it all is that there are victims everywhere. The mainstream media, which when I was a youngster some few years ago, was Walter Cronkite, Huntley and Brinkley, and Frank Reynolds, has now become, what's that great line from the William Holden, Gloria Swanson movie, Sunset Boulevard? It's not the televisions that have gotten small, it's the people. and you know, we don't exactly have giants of journalistic integrity running around the media these days.
Well, I think you've hit a common theme. I think a lot of people don't trust the media not to have an agenda, and that has cost them, and that's, I think, giving rise to some of what we're seeing right now. It's
cost us because we don't know who to trust. I saw
Agreed.
A friend of mine put up on Facebook this fascinating little chart of the media you trust, and where she had the media that she trusted, I would have fake mainstream media. And the people that she doesn't trust are the people I go to first every day. And, okay, there's 35 years difference there, but that's really the big problem. When we were radio, TV, 3 stations on TV, radio stations that were local and networks, we didn't really have this kind of issue. We knew that there were certain outlets, like the Chicago Tribune, that may have had a stronger conservative bent, while others, like the World Journal or the Journal American, had a much more liberal set. But for the most part, they were all on just a slight side of the moderate line. Now, there doesn't seem to be any lines, and the closer to moderate, probably the least watched they are.
I agree. There's a tremendous amount of partisanship that's driving what the media cover and how they cover it, because at the end of the day, unfortunately, they're a business, not a service. So, you know, what do you do? Well, I think what we as citizens can do is just make sure that we're relying on people to give us accurate information. Whatever that looks like to you, hold your sources accountable to give you the truth.
You know, Chrysta, I just heard a report on CBS News, which we carry here, and it was talking about they're putting in a Skype system in the White House meeting room for the media, press room, so that people could ask questions on Skype from other media outlets outside of just Washington, D.C. and the networks.
I think that's a brilliant idea. I think that we need to get actual real-time reporting to places that are outside of the coast, and I think that would be a tremendous service to those of us who live in the middle of the country.
No doubt about it. We're talking to Chrysta Castañeda, and we're talking about Mr. Trump and the media. When you look at, and it's funny, the media covers a lot of breaking things, whether it's news stories, whether it's social issues, whether it's cultural events. But when you think about how they react to change in their own midst, it's pretty funny that the Tigers' stripes don't transfer over to spots. They don't seem to really get it.
You know, it's been reported over and over again as to the challenges that traditional publications face, you know, in a digital world with, you know, real-time reporting and, you know, demands for constant updates. How many, you know, of us sit there and refresh our news feeds just to see what's going on in the world? It's a big challenge for the businesses that do this. And you're right, it's a tough adjustment.
You know, it's funny. I get hit with requests to take free magazines, and they're not, you know, the out of the. It's not even Mother Jones, and you know, This Week's Nazi that used to want to give you free issues, but it's Life, it's Time, it's Newsweek, it's you know, mainstream publications, Reader's Digest, because the print media, as far as newspapers and as far as magazines go, have been superseded totally by social media and the Internet.
You know, I'm not sure that I agree that they've been totally superseded. Clearly, we are relying on, you know, social media for a lot more. You know, we didn't have it 10 years ago. But there is still a call for investigative journalism, I think. You know, the stuff that takes time to find out the facts and write. And I'm not entirely sure how traditional media or even new media is going to respond to filling that need. But clearly it's still a need for everybody.
You know, it's funny you say that, because one of the things that has hurt, in my mind, television news is, and this was back in the 70s when it started, and it's gotten to the point where it's almost obnoxious, and that's happy news. And you remember when the first happy, it was actually out of New York City. Bill Beutel and Roger Grimsby, who were both traditional news people, and then got pushed into this happy news. And now, you know, you have stories about dogs and cats way ahead of you know, it used to be if it bled, it led. Now, if it's cute, it's definitely taken up some airtime.
Yes. Yes, you're exactly right. There is some fluff in there. You know, they're trying to give people what they want, but I don't know that they've hit on the formula yet.
Do you think Donald Trump will evict the press from their traditional area?
No, I don't. I think he's going to need the press. He's got 20 million Twitter followers, but traditional media put out 48 million newspapers a day in the United States. And CNN reaches over 50% of C-suites and decision makers in business. They're not reading social media to get their news. So I think he's going to need the regular media, in addition to maintaining that personal connection that he does with his Twitter followers.
Do you know what he did during the campaign that Hillary didn't, and it probably cost her? Trump was a lot more energetic the last couple of months of the campaign. And when he would stop for one of his rallies, he would talk to local radio and TV who don't have access to a presidential candidate, while Mrs. Clinton stayed basically home and had fundraisers. That's another way of getting past the national media, and he's pretty good at it.
Well, and good politicians know that they need to reach out to their markets, and you know, local media is important. And it's very interesting to me how few politicians actually do that. I mean, it takes time, it takes effort, but it is important.
I don't know if I'd let either of them kiss my baby if I had one, but that's a totally different story. Chrysta Castañeda is our guest. Where can people find out about you and Canterbury Communications?
So I'm on the web at canterburycommunications.com. That's spelled Canterbury communications.com.
Chrysta, a real joy. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Chrysta Castañeda joining us today from Canterbury Communications. It is 4:27.